You just laid your bike down. You're shaken, maybe bruised, but you're thinking, I'm fine, right? I'm okay. So you skip the hospital. Maybe you apologize to the other driver, head home, and then you realize later you didn't take any pictures and you don't know the names of those friendly witnesses who were standing on the sidewalk. Those quick decisions could cost you thousands or entirely ruin your injury claim. I'm Matt Albrecht, a personal injury attorney in Washington, and I've seen riders lose strong cases over simple mistakes. I've also seen them be blamed for causing a crash that they did not actually cause because the other driver wanted to avoid responsibility for what they'd done wrong. In this video, I'll walk you through the 5 things you should never do after a motorcycle accident, even if you feel okay. Because the wrong move in those first few hours can make recovery harder, and it can make it a lot harder for us to get justice in your injury claim. Number 1, don't leave the scene, even if you think you're okay. The most important point, never leave the scene of a motorcycle accident until you've done what is required by Washington law. If you feel fine or you think the crash was just a minor spill, even if you think you're fine, leaving the scene can create legal and potentially financial headaches for you long down the road. In Washington, you see, you're legally required to stay at the scene and exchange information with anyone else involved. This isn't just about being polite, it's about protecting your rights and following the law. If you leave, you could be charged with hit and run, even if at the time you don't think you caused anything, therefore you don't think you were at fault. When you leave, it will be easy for others to accuse you of being the one at fault. This could even mean jail time, fines, or a criminal record that could haunt you. We can find a real-world example on YouTube. If we look at this quick video, you'll see somebody who thinks they're fine, jumps up and gets on their motorcycle and rides off again. This is not a good example of how to do it. Even if you feel okay and your bike looks rideable, you need to stop. Check if anyone else there needs emergency help. Call 911 if there are injuries or major damage. In Washington, you're required to call the police for accidents that involve injury or significant property damage. Exchange information, names, contact info, insurance details, vehicle plates. Take a breath. Don't just speed off, even if you think it's no big deal. Protect yourself and follow the law. The second thing you must not do after a motorcycle accident is downplay your injuries or skip medical care. I get it. Your adrenaline's pumping. You might be kind of embarrassed you just got in a crash, or you're just eager to get home, and all of us can fall for the hopeful thinking where you just hope that will go away. But skipping the doctor's visit is one of the biggest mistakes you can make, for 2 big reasons. First, serious injuries don't show up right away. You might feel okay at the scene, but hours or days later, you could have severe pain, concussions, internal bleeding, or a spinal injury. I've seen a client who thought they were fine, tried to get their own motorcycle up, said initially they didn't need an ambulance, and didn't know that they actually had a life-threatening injury to their brain that was going to leave them in a coma. You don't know how badly you've been injured. Take a second, realize that this is why there are medical professionals, and you should check in with them. Just as important, insurance companies will use your failure to get medical care right away against you, and they will use it to undermine your legal claims. If you were really hurt, you would have sought help right away. For example, if you wait a week to get medical care, or even a few days, the insurance company might claim that you got injured in between the 2 events. If you don't want to have to deal with that defense, then just get care right away. Gaps or delays in care can mean a much lower settlement, or it can mean a lawsuit where one wouldn't have been needed, or it can take a lot longer. I have helped many clients who have been in crashes where they initially thought they were going to be okay, and it turned out later they didn't realize how serious their injuries were. So what do you do instead? Just get checked out by a medical professional right away, even if you feel fine. Follow up as needed. Your health is your first priority, and you should take it seriously. Of course, in this case, it's also what's good for your insurance claim. So do what's best for your health. Let the rest follow. Number 3, don't admit fault or apologize, not to anyone. It's human nature to be polite and to try to apologize, especially after a scary crash. But in the moments after a motorcycle accident, saying I'm sorry or admitting guilt can really ruin your case, even if you're just being polite. Here's why. Washington is a comparative fault state, and in many cases, the defense will claim anyone riding a motorcycle is already partly at fault. It's literally a standard defense if there's a motorcycle crash. So if you admit to any fault, then it can be divided Even if the other driver was clearly violating the law, you could still be accused of being partly at fault. And if you say even the slightest admission of your fault, you almost certainly will be blamed. He said it was his fault or he apologized is a powerful quote for them. So stay honest, but keep things factual. Don't offer your opinions. Don't offer more than you need to. For example, I had a client say, "I'm sorry I didn't see you coming," even though the other car had run a red light and was clearly at fault for the crash. But the insurance company jumped on her words, and it took a long time and a lot of fighting to get her a fair outcome, mostly just because of that one simple statement. Of course, she had no duty to see the driver coming, and no reason to expect someone would be running a red light. But that one little statement caused a lot of trouble for her. You want to avoid that. When you talk to law enforcement, keep the same thing in mind. They are there to investigate a crash and find out the facts. So just stick to the facts. I was traveling north. I was traveling this speed. I shouldn't have turned. Why would you say that? You don't need to say that. Instead, let the investigators figure out what happened. You just say the facts. You don't even know right now whether there are cameras or other witnesses. Number 4, forgetting to gather evidence. After a motorcycle crash, your memory and everyone else's will get fuzzy fast. You'd be surprised how a person might get fuzzy with their memory if they're at fault. That car that turned in front of you, all of a sudden they might remember it a totally different way than how it happened. That's why gathering evidence right there before you leave the scene is crucial. Don't rely on the police reporting alone. Remember, many of the police are only going to use their body camera. It doesn't have that great a resolution. It's not going to show what you need. In many cases, they won't necessarily get all the contact information you wish you could get from the witnesses. And even if they do, it doesn't mean they'll share it with you right away. If they decide there's a criminal investigation, some of the records can be kept private and might not even be turned over as public records. So find the information yourself by asking people what their names are, how you can get a hold of them. Take photos of everything. Your bike, the other vehicles, skid marks, your injuries, the scene. Use your phone. Get wide shots and then also zoom in. You're going to want to be able to see where the skid marks are compared to the sidewalk, for example. And you don't know whether that night it's going to snow or rain, or there will be another crash later on that tears up the scene and makes it so that you'll never be able to tell again what that evidence was. Now, this all assumes that you're well enough to stand up and you can safely gather this information. If you can't, ask someone else. Usually a bystander would be willing to help. If they know that you're just trying to get the truth of things, then let them know, could you please take some photos of the scene for me? This doesn't mean get up if you're injured. Ask others for help. But when people are leaving the scene, the most important thing you need is the information for how to get a hold of them again. Those independent witnesses who are late for work and want to leave, you will never be able to find that person again if you don't get their information that night. Gathering this evidence is not just about getting more money. It's also about being able to prove what happened. I've worked for riders who didn't take pictures because they were in shock. Later, the other drivers involved claimed it was the motorcyclist's fault. Nobody at the scene ever thought that could be possible because the other driver was ticketed. But the ticket itself does not come into evidence in most trials. And so the evidence you think you have in a ticket against the other driver is not as good as you think it is. This person got lucky and we were able to find a picture that a bystander had taken. You don't want to count on that luck. The more evidence you have yourself, the stronger your case will be. 5. Do not talk to the insurance company for the other driver alone. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see. Talking to the other insurance company before you've got legal advice. Their job is not to help you. Their job is to save their own company money. And they're good at it. If they tell you they can be friendly and save you some time, that's because it'll save them some money. They might say they just want your side of the story or to confirm a few details. Sometimes they'll tell you they can make things a lot easier if you just give them some information. Well, the easy they're looking for is not the easy that's good for you. Don't fall for it. Even innocent questions can be used to twist your words. An answer that admits to being distracted or being tired from working late the night before can be all it takes to extend your claim or maybe lead to a denial. They might use it to argue that you were actually the one at fault, or that your injuries aren't as serious as you say. I'm going to give you the exact words you need when you get that call from the insurance company. You want their information. You don't want to give them information. So get their contact information, the policy number, and the claim number. That's all very useful for your lawyer. Second, all you need to say, I need to talk with an attorney first. And if you don't want to hire an attorney, then I need to make sure I have all the facts first. That's all you need to say. There's no obligation to speak to them. You have rights. Don't give them away over the phone. Call and find a Washington motorcycle injury attorney who can help you. Now, we'll recap what you've learned, the 5 things you must not do after a motorcycle crash in Washington. Number 1, don't leave the scene. Number 2, don't skip medical care. Number 3, don't admit fault. 4, don't forget to gather evidence. And 5, don't try negotiating with the other driver's insurance adjuster alone or give any statement alone without legal help. Each of these steps will save you from bigger problems, bigger expenses, and a harder road to recovery. But here's the deal. Even if you follow all these steps, you still might be making a mistake that could ruin your injury settlement, and you wouldn't even know you're making it because this is probably your first time. That's why I made another video called Mistakes That Could Ruin Your Injury Settlement. In that video, I'm showing you how to protect your claim, avoid common traps, and make sure you end up getting what you really deserve. Whether you're back out riding today or still recovering, don't miss out. The next video could make the difference, so click to watch Mistakes That Could Ruin Your Injury Settlement. I'll see you over there.